Hi everyone, so today I am going to flip through old sketchbook of mine. This was actually the first sketchbook that I did when I did art at college. So this is from very long ago, and it's going to be like a walk down the memory lane for me because I think this is about 17 years old, and you know, once in a while, every few years I might have a look in there. I think the last time it was about 4 years ago, and I do enjoy looking through this because some of the pages are kind of like a cringe, you know, it feels very amateur like, and it feels very clumsy in a way and all of that, and the shapes or the lines or the colors, I instantly look and see things in there that I don't like anymore. But at the same time, certain things really inspire me and give me such a pleasure to look back and think, oh yeah, I remember this, you know, I did this and this was actually quite fun, and why don't I try this again? So that's the purpose, to perhaps inspire you as well. Now, there's going to be quite a bit of mixed media and different things because we were encouraged to use as many different mediums as possible to obviously, you know, get to know what art is all about. And this is truly where I got to know watercolors and my love for watercolors developed. So I think that's also quite interesting. So let's start. So hopefully this is a bit better. I had to move the camera slightly. So we are starting by a few things in the beginning right here. So I think this was, oh gosh, I keep forgetting. It's that, you know, when you draw, is it batik? Yeah, I think it's batik. When you draw on silk with this little tool that you have heated and melted wax in there, and then you can drop in colors and things like that. And I think this is what I did. I don't know exactly what paper it was, but I can see the wax here. And then later you iron out the wax and you end up with something like that. So these are the lilies from Georgia at Kiev, who became very quickly my favorite floral artist. The scale of her flowers is just something completely, you know, stunning, and so I very quickly became a huge fan of hers. And so this is me trying to replicate her work in a different medium, or in a medium that was new to me. Then here we've got something which looks like orchids. Now I stitched on some thin paper onto well, first of all, actually the thin paper, I did some printing on here, you know, with one of those rollers kind of thing, and to create some texture and patterns. And I think this was acrylic paint, and then I did the stitching for that extra texture with the orchids, and then some embroidering on top, and then there is this lovely kind of representation of orchids. So that's quite interesting. Now the very first thing, however, that we looked at, and I remember it very clearly to this day, is the staircase of the school. So the teacher took us out into the hallway and made us stand up there and paint different parts of the hallway, and I concentrated on the pillar, and it was very beautiful, very strong wood, very classic, and I just was drawn immediately to colors and, you know, shapes and all of that. I think it's a very interesting piece, actually. So I do like that a lot. So like I warned you, there's going to be a lot of amateur stuff, But as we progress, it's going to be a little series. I have 6 units, and this is the first one. So in the 6, well, as we progress to the 6, it's going to get more and more interesting. So do stay patient if there's some stuff you don't like here. But I think still, even in this sketchbook, there's certain things that I enjoy looking at. So here I've got creative with some oil pastels and sticking on some tissue paper for a bit of texture again. All of these mediums were mostly new to me. Some of them I tried at school, obviously, back in Germany, where I studied, and but I think truly it is here where I started to really understand certain things. And here is a first conscious painting that I did with watercolors, and this was of the entrance of the school. And looking at it now, I mean, back then I remember I didn't like the brown colors, which I'm still not a huge fan of, but there are bits of this painting which I really love, which is this one. It's the glass window, which was really, really pretty. And I think I conveyed the story, the picture very well, because here is the door that was opening that way, and then there was like a double door that you go through, this beautiful arch which had loads of windows, and they were quite pretty. You can see the chandelier hanging down here, and then the tree outside. So I did as much as I could. This was a very complicated kind of layering and perspective, layering of lines and perspective. So I think given how complicated it was quite all right. So then I've got some attempts of looking at the same thing in different kind of materials, and so here are some fabric, sequins, paper, all sorts of things. Underneath here there's a sketch of a door that I did with some glitter as well. Sorry if there is too much crinkling sound. It's just because I have the different mediums here. I used a lot of tracing paper to avoid dirt in the sketchbook. So again, looking at different textures. Now here is a lot of things happening. So I think here I was doing like a plant that you can see better here. So this is the plant, like a palm tree that I was doing, and I think I used some oil pastels, and on top of that I then went over with some shimmery silvery kind of paint of some sort and created some abstract or not abstract but like geometric kind of shapes. And then underneath that I have a tissue paper that I stuck on with glue, and that crinkled it up, and once it dried it gave me a nice texture to use again oil pastels on it. So again, we're looking at the same object in different representations and using different mediums. Now going back to school here, I'm still looking at that pillar, now a different part of it, and I'm taking it apart and sort of creating like a cubism look. So different colors as well. Colors always has been, actually since I was very little in primary school and things like that, color has been a very big part of my art, and I loved kind of contrasting colors that are working beautifully together. So this is just really thin cut lines of photocopies of my art, and it's a very nice texture actually. So that's that pillar, and then similar thing the other way around. And let's see, next page is, these feel like they're stuck on. maybe I didn't like them. Yeah, I think I stuck them together. So here is like a knitted part actually. So that's the same kind of pillar thing that I did, but this time I did the knitting, and that's quite original actually. Never seen a pillar from that point of view. Then some inks, so some pencils, and then I'm looking at artists here, trying to get some inspiration. I suppose the colors probably spoke out here to me, and I'm doing this lovely vibrant colors. And so then the next thing was homework again, and here I chose to look at a spoon. So here is a spoon that comes in all sorts of different materials. I think my favorite is this one, which was, I believe, like a chocolate, like a Rocher chocolate wrapper that I decided to utilize in this art, and it actually looks really cool, mind you. I really like this, and it's stuck so well to the paper that it's not coming off at all. It's like smooth. And then there's some more oil pastels. Now I have oil pastels still till this day, but I never used them because I find them quite messy, but they are quite beautiful to work with, you know, as a medium. So that's that. And then I'm going more into Picasso direction, I guess, right here. So this is where it gets a bit messy, and I definitely would not do this type of thing today because I hate mess when it comes to art, which is probably not the best thing. But here are some charcoal elements with the oil pastels. Then we have some more cubism here. And let's see. Right, so this is when I started to experiment a bit more with the inks, and I really enjoyed it. So here I'm using masking tape, which has this lovely texture. I have no idea how I created it, but I love the look of it. And just experimenting. Before this, I don't think I used ink in that way, sort of painting with it. I would only use it for actually not even drawing, but writing with, you know, in school. And that's that. And then there's some sort of ugly thing going on here. More experiments with oil pastels, lovely colors, these teals and blues. I do like that. And then this is quite nice as well. So here I'm using oil pastels but on tracing paper, so that gives you a different feeling altogether, because tracing paper is super smooth, so they will glide and blend differently. And here I've got the bottom part. Oh, I'm just going to take that. So this is the whole thing. Looks quite nice actually. I like the colors and I like the shapes of them. This is what I've been thinking lately, that I haven't been really experimenting much or being sort of true to myself in terms of colors. This is something I used to be really good at. And maybe that's something I should go back to in terms of splashing colors that are complementary. And, you know, had to stop there. Had a nice heavy box from Amazon delivered, and I think I know what's in there, so I might film it right after this video. So where was I? I was saying how I perhaps should go back to the contrasting colors, because really they're so interesting when you have like a color popping as it is here and there against blues and things like that. So this is another piece I like. So something quite similar. I think, what is this? This is the original? Yeah. So this is the original of the first one that I showed you. in the beginning of the sketchbook. So this is the tracing paper again, and this time I've done a big spread, and I love the colors. Very very, very beautiful, and it's a big one. That's the bottom part of it. I'll have to figure out how I will show you the later units, because I then would transfer to the bigger sketchbooks later as my art progressed. So this is just scrunching up paper of that illustration that we just saw and photocopying it, really. So just a different perspective, I guess. Now here I'm experimenting with some like nets and inks and all sorts of things. This is something I used to really like. I used to take some acrylics and just do sort of like swatches kind of thing for the background and then write on it. Here again, a little bit more of the ink. I really like this color combination, very beautiful. Purple, that pink and green works so stunning here. I love this part, and yeah, very, very nice. What am I doing here? Just, this looks like sap green, but I'm not sure. Here's same thing with the tissue paper. It's like a purpley, pinky, fuchsia type of color tissue paper that I stuck on, and then decided to experiment with inks and some splashes. Yeah, so that's what I did here. That's that. More oil pastels here. It seems that I really like that blue and the orange, and I tried to look at it in as many different ways as I could, because pretty much the entire sketchbook is dedicated to that by the looks of it. Then I'm just looking at more cubism and some sort of something going on here, not sure what. Piet Mondrian, yeah, this is probably my kind of least favorite type of art, because it's just so, you know, I don't know, it's not creative enough for my liking. This type of thing I really like, actually, but the colors as well. I love the turquoise in this. This is Nora Huntley, and surprisingly this is also Piet Mondrian. Now this is something I really, really like. First of all, the colors. I love the colors here. So I've done batik here on a piece of kind of mesh or sort of fabric that took it on very well, because it gave it that sort of almost hardening kind of value. And I love the lines that I have created here, sort of looking at cubism and geometrical kind of type of art. And then I've got some stuff here inspired by it. This is acrylics, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, you will see a lot more of this sort of experimentation in the upcoming sketchbooks. And there is some pink stuff here. Silver and blue. More silver, and this is more textural. And here I'm just looking at different patterns. So this looks like Art Nouveau to me. This is Charles René Mackintosh. Yeah, so more of his stuff, more of his work. So these are the rose print and some fabric and textures again. I love how many photocopies there are of different artists' works, and just a lot of things that are very, very inspiring, you know, like a true sketchbook. This is quite dark. Who is this? Oscar Kokoschka? It is interesting to see that towards the end of this sketchbook I then started showing my interest for florals. I probably had enough of that cubism and all of that. I think I was doing it because we were asked to do it, and then we were probably left to our own devices to pick a subject of your own interest, and I think this is where it started. So here is George Keefe, and yeah, so that piece from the beginning that I did on paper, batik on paper, that was probably from the end. Oh goodness me, look how gorgeous this is. This looks just so stunning. Well, this type of cubism I actually quite like. So this is Lee Klee, I think, Douglas Hall, if you can read it. Beautiful piece. So here is some more creative cubism. And let's see. Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Yeah, I can start seeing my style coming through here, and it makes me very happy. So you'll see a lot more of this type of thing in the upcoming sketchbooks. Look at these gorgeous florals. This is basically embroidered kind of, you know, sequences and all of that. Yeah, it's a dress and adornment with loads of kind of beautiful textural values. And do I have anything else? Yes, a little bit more here. So this is Franz Mark, Blue Horse. Again, colors. Love the colors. Gorgeous horse. I love these greens and the yellows. It's just like gorgeousness. And then more colors by Andy Warhol, of course. Looking at that, not sure why I decided to put back of the horse and Marilyn Monroe's face on the next page, but yeah. And Lempicka, Tamara Lempicka, I actually have a huge painting of hers, a print of course, hanging in the living room with the two ladies where they're wearing turquoise dresses and a red, like an orangey gorgeous lip. And I just love her work, and yeah, it just makes me happy every time I look at it, because again of the colors, the turquoise and the orangey red just pops, and it's just beautiful. So it's all very interesting how we develop as artists and how our interest develops. And yeah, I hope you really enjoy this video, and do let me know, because I am planning to do quite a few of those to go through the other sketchbooks that I have. So thanks for watching, and see you soon.